microphone. Can everyone hear me? If anyone has got any hearing problems, hard of hearing, just listen. Try listening for 5 minutes. Right, thank you all for joining us today and welcome to this very special day. My name is Austin. If you don't know already, I'm Layla's stepdad. Right. Before we start, let's get the sad bit out the way first, eh? There's a few people that would love to have joined us today and we would have loved them to be here. Lucy's father, Mick, Layla's granddad. Mick would have been as proud as punch today, he really would have. Layla's the first of his grandchildren to get married. And I would have loved him to be here. Mick was the backbone of this family. He just loved getting everyone together. He would have loved today. I'd also have liked my dad to be here, Tony. Tony didn't have a chance to meet everyone like I'd have liked him to. I'd have just liked to show them how proud I was of the job we've done bringing up this brilliant family, basically. They would have been so proud today. Now, I was meant to be sharing today with a very special person. I was meant to be sharing the role of father of the bride with Colin, Grandad Colin, or G-Pa, as the kids called him. You've already got me going, come on. If ever there was a relationship between a grandad and his grandkids, well, to be measured by, this was the one. Colin absolutely adored Carl and Layla. It would have made our day for him to be here. He would have been so proud, he really would have. So, in good tradition, would you please all raise a glass and join me in a toast to absent friends and loved ones.
Absent friends and loved ones. Oh, Carl's crying his eyes out. You got it, Mum?
Oh, Cole's got me going now as well. God, this is going to be a nightmare. Okay. Right then, there is of course another little bit of bad news today. I don't know if any of you watched the news this morning, but unfortunately Michael Bublé died yesterday. I'm only joking. I'm not. Apparently he was...
Stop it!
All right. I'll carry on. Right, now seriously. Firstly, I'd like to thank my wife, Lucy. It's been an absolute joy being part of this family. Excuse me. I wouldn't have this beautiful young lady in my life if it wasn't for Lucy. And it's been just so much fun. I cannot tell you all how much fun it's been bringing up this family. Secondly, of course, I'd like to give a big thank you to Julie and Paul. It's no mean feat nowadays, raising a decent lad like Lee. He is an absolute credit to them. He's an honest, hard-working and down-to-earth lad. And as the saying goes, if he was any more laid back, he would be horizontal. And let's face it, he's perfectly suited to Layla. I would welcome him to the family, but he knows he's been part of our family for years now. But I'll welcome you anyway, so welcome to the family, mate. But I believe Sam and Rich have a pretty decent speech coming up. At least I hope so. Very shortly, so I'll leave the mickey taking to them. Now, as I said before at the beginning, I am not Layla's biological dad. I am her stepdad. I feel like I am. But this means I wasn't around in the early years bringing up Layla. I met Layla Bunny when she was 9 years old. By all accounts, Layla was a very confident A very confident little girl. And apart from the odd sluggy in saga, I promised I wouldn't mention that, and the fact that Lucy very nearly changed her name to McVicker. Now, if you're under 50, you're going to have to Google that, all right? Apart from that, she was just a lovely, lovely little girl. So as I've said, I only met Layla when she was 9, so I want to tell you all how exactly I met Layla. When I first met Lucy and we started dating, we decided to keep it quiet. Now, the reason was that if things didn't work out and the kids hadn't met me, then there was no harm done, basically. This meant that I wouldn't visit the house until after 9 o'clock at night. This way the kids would all be in bed and they'd be none the wiser. They would all be asleep while Lucy and I just had a glass of wine and played Scrabble downstairs. Now, it was Scrabble, I always won. Now, when I used to turn up at the door, I used to knock on the door, and this tiny little figure with dishevelled, messy hair would answer the door, and it was, of course, Lucy. Now, at the time, Lucy had a friend called Nicole, and Nicole was married to my mate called Colin. And I would regularly pop in after work for a coffee, after work for a chat, and just a general doss. And on this particular evening, I'd popped into Colin and Nicole's after work for a coffee, and we were just chatting in the kitchen. They had no idea about Lucy and I seeing each other. Like I said, we kept it all quiet. Now, this particular evening, I was sat in the kitchen. Unbeknown to me, Lucy had dropped the kids off to stay the night at Colin's. I had no idea. All of a sudden, I'm chatting away in the kitchen. This little girl appeared. This little girl. She looked just like Drew Barrymore from E.T. I don't know if you've seen it. Now, all of a sudden she walked straight into the kitchen, bold as brass, looked straight at me as if she knew me. "Hello," she said. I was a little bit puzzled by this, and her familiarity threw me off a bit. "Hello," I replied. "Who are you?" I asked. "I'm Layla, and you're that man that comes round my mum's." It's absolutely true. They were fingers were pointed. I was busted by a 9-year-old, and that is exactly how I met Layla. What can I tell you? It has been the joy of my life. Being Layla's stepdad, Being Layla's stepdad, I've been there as any father would have been. We've been through highs, lows. We've butted heads on more than one occasion, haven't we? But as much as being stubborn, Layla will always admit when she's wrong. It's just one of the many qualities I love about my stepdaughter.
Bollocks.
Spoken like a true twin brother. Okay.
Well, maybe
Thanks for that, Carl. I'll be slashing your tyres later. I've always enjoyed listening to Layla, and I've always had the time to listen to her, and let's face it, it's a good job with how much she can talk. Blimey. I've witnessed her deck, so said brother, with one punch. Do you remember, in the kitchen? It was a peach of a straight right. Carl went straight down. I was also there, and I can name the exact day that my stepdaughter, let's say, became a woman, became of age. I knew this exactly when her little brother appeared into the kitchen, gleefully displaying and saying, "Look what Layla's given me," with an Always Ultra stuck to his forehead. Layla was leant over the stairs, crying with laughter. The rest of that day was spent watching the boys slide around the laminate flooring with an Always Ultra stuck to each foot, ice skating away. The memories just go on and on. I mean, I literally could tell you stories all night. As a teenager, let's just say Layla was highly spirited. We tried so many ways to punish her, let's put it that way. We finally discovered the only punishment that would work.
Oh, I know this one.
Yeah.
I know this one.
We had tried grounding her, only to see her silhouette slide down the front of the porch, hit the floor and leg it off at 100 miles an hour. This happened regularly. Lucy and I would just look at each other. Lucy would say, you get the wine, I'd say, you get the candles, we're in for it. We even tried confiscating her makeup. This did not work. She would just use Katie's. She would use it on the way to school, and then she'd end up looking like she'd been shot in the face with a makeup gun. It was pointless. But then there was a breakthrough. Confiscate her mobile phone.
Oh.
Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Oh my God, the tears, the agony that followed, all because of a little Motorola. I mean, like I said before, I could tell you stories all night and I wouldn't run out. But the show must go on, as they say. So, to finish off, I have a personal message to my stepdaughter Layla. Excuse me. It has been a joy and a privilege and an honour to be your stepdad. Don't get me going. I remember when you were 13 or 14 and I sat you down and I told you not to be in such a hurry to be a grown-up. There's plenty of time to be an adult when you are one, remember? Here we are now, on your wedding day, with the beautiful Blossom here as well. I always said you'd turn out well. I always knew you would. And I can't tell you how proud of you I am. Give us your hand. You have grown into a beautiful, intelligent, caring and headstrong young woman. When you have an idea, you will move heaven and earth, to turn that into a reality. I'm sure you can tell by today's organisation. You work hard and you only have to spend time with your daughter Blossom to know that you are a fantastic mum. So the one thing I can say is I love you dearly, and if you were my biological daughter, I wouldn't change a single thing. So, here's a kiss. So to finish, I've got Carl crying.
I know.
So to finish off, I would just like you all please to raise a glass for the happy couple, Mr. and Mrs. Meads.
Mr. and Mrs. Meads.
Mr. and Mrs. Meads.
Yay.
Thank you very much.
Did you like